We've got a pretty nice crowd here at Abe Stark, ready to see something they really don't get a chance to see that often. The Shock Exchange played in Brooklyn one game last year, and the rest of their games have been on the road. Our first jam is underway. Jonathan R. looking for a spot to pick his way through for lead jammer.
And the quad father, whoops.
Jonathan R. does get lead jammer. Magnum PIMP is stuck in the back behind Jeffrey and Ace of Skates and Buster Cheaton. Abe Drinkin tries to push him to the right. Jonathan R. coming around for some points. A big multiple player effort there to keep Magnum PIMP in the pack, but Buster Cheaton is the last line and has to let him go. Jonathan R. is coming through. He's probably going to get 4 if Abe can help him out with some offense.
Jonathan R.'s agility is really impressive.
It is off the charts. He's a former artistic roller figure skater. He picked up, it looks like, 3 points in that jam. Could not get around that last line of defense of the gatekeepers. I'm apologizing in advance for not being as familiar with the gatekeeper skaters as the Shock Exchange, but you'll be learning them along with me for this next hour.
Let's learn together, shall we?
Yes. We have Ladies Night, number 2 for 1, about to jam for the Shock Exchange. For the gatekeepers, we've got someone who's facing us. Their numbers are on the back, so it'll take us a half lap to really verify everyone's identity. It's a guy with beautiful long hair who is lead jammer. That's number 11.
We don't see his number, but we see his locks.
Well, that's how I'm going to remember him for the rest of this game. The guy with the hair, number 11, Debaucherous Prime, is out in lead jammer.
And he is one of the DNN's best jammers.
We're going to see that right now. Ladies Night is really having a hard time getting around. Number 82, that's Percy Control.
Ooh, number 314 landed a hit on him.
Ooh, the Incredible Hulk and Double XL, both very large pack members, made it very difficult for Ladies Night. I will say, just based on sight alone, the gatekeepers are a bigger team than the Shock Exchange. We're going to see how that plays out.
I see Buster Cheaton as a blocker for the New York Shock Exchange, along with Ace of Skates.
I see Wreckin' Bill, number 86D. He's on that outside line. We can see him from the front. He's got little facial hair. That's how I'll remember him.
And Mullen Brando.
Wreckin' Bill I'll also remember because he is one of the bigger blockers as well. They really bring a lot of heft to their blocking lineup.
Jonathan R. back up to the line for the New York Shock Exchange.
Jonathan finds some help from the hips of his pivot, who is Ace of Skates. Uses them to get around. He has to fight off Nat King Kill at the end, and he is lead jammer, but not by much.
Nat King Kill is right on his heels.
We're going to have a fast pack where all these blockers are going to try to avoid being that 1 point in the back. We anticipate a very close game. Every point is going to count. Right now, Jeffrey is that last point in the back, and he cuts around number 86D and gets a minor for his effort, but it actually kept him from being a point. That's a 0-0. So far, the action has a lot of strength, a lot of speed.
And we're just beginning.
We haven't had any box trips.
4 minutes into the game, the score is St. Louis Gatekeepers 5, New York Shock Exchange 3.
Abe Drinking pivoting in the front by looking backwards at the opposing jammer. Let's get what his identity is. I'll have these down by the end of the bout, I swear. That's number EP2. That is Shango Fett jamming for the gatekeepers.
Last opposing blocker manages.
That's Ronnie Mako.
Ronnie Mako manages to knock the jammer out.
And
allowing 2 for 1 Ladies Night to be New York Shock Exchange lead jammer.
The Shock Exchange, the jam ref associated with the Shock Exchange there had to look around, make sure that her jammer was still eligible. There was a lot of action in the front of the pack there. Here comes Ladies Night, woo, with a nice nifty move around to the right of Double XL.
314 in the back of the pack.
Both jammers scoring. They're both at this point looking to maybe win by 4-3 or 4-2. Ladies Night may need to call it soon. Oh, a big hit.
Filthy McNasty sending the jammer from St. Louis right out of bounds.
That buys a lot more time for Ladies Night. Ladies Night picks up, it looks like 2 points to the gatekeepers, 1. We have Atticus Flinch taking the line for the New York Shock Exchange. And is that L7 I see for the gatekeepers?
Possibly, possibly.
If that's the case, it's Magnum PIMP. I see a C on his chest. Or no, that's just a MRDA logo. Buster Cheaton now facing the jammer to try to add some strength to these walls as they try to burst through. You see a lot of the same strategy here that you do in the women's game, but with a lot more heft behind it. That is Magnum PIMP. Takes a big hit from Buster Cheaton.
And Buster Cheaton gets sent out of bounds by number 216.
We have a major forearm on number 216 for White. That is Jukebox Hero going to the box, our first box trip of the day.
And a massive hit from Ace of Skates.
Atticus Flinch is trying to get out of the pack. I don't believe he's gotten out yet. And Magnum PIMP is coming through trying to score on Abe, who throws a butt in his path, but it doesn't really work. And he is through for a natural grand slam of 5 points. Finally, Atticus Flinch is out, and the Shock Exchange can stop the bleeding on this one. Shock Exchange blockers are going to want to try to get to the front of the pack. Don't be an easy point. Make it hard for Magnum PIMP to build on that 5-0. He's got a couple more there.
And it looks like he got one.
I didn't see him call it off. But
well, someone did. Someone with a whistle.
Someone with it. That may be what he's talking about on the infield there. I did not see him tap his hips to his hands. Maybe we'll be able to get a replay of that. Not sure why that jam ended. But St. Louis has a 4-point lead 7 minutes into this game.
And Jonathan R. is back up to the jammer line for the New York Shock Exchange.
Sammy Dangerfield going to try to get some respect by manning the front of that pack, facing off against the St. Louis jammer with the hair. I've forgotten his name. Oh.
He is the DNN's number one jammer.
That's right, Debaucherous Prime.
Debaucherous Prime, the meeting fellow.
I'm going to remember that because 1-1, his uniform number, looks like beautiful hair hanging from a head.
2 long ponytails. Icy, filthy, McNasty.
Oh, an enormous hit on Jonathan R. by the Gatekeepers pivot.
And there goes the St. Louis Gatekeepers jammer to the penalty box. This is going to give the New York Shock Exchange a terrific opportunity to catch up on some of those points that they're lagging behind.
What was the infraction? Did you see?
I'm going to guess. I think it was a low block. I thought I saw the signal for a low block, but we'll have to see that in. Oh!
I was looking down at the moment that foul happened because I was trying to figure out the identity of number OU81 of the Gatekeepers, who had that enormous hit on Jonathan R. That is Neil Death Experience, who is now headed to the box for an out-of-play major. We're now watching the Shock Exchange play what some people call kind of a slow, passive offense. They're letting their jammer try to do what he can without their help. And here it pays off. Jonathan R. is through for 5.
And Jonathan R. demonstrating some of that amazing agility that he is well known for.
Percy Control has been sent off to the box for too much contact to Jonathan R. outside the engagement zone. This is very similar to the way the controversial game between the Shock Exchange and Gatekeepers ended in May. I believe it was in May. Jonathan R. skating with the Gatekeepers unable to really do much without leaving the engagement zone, and Jonathan pulling up for 24-0 to win that game.
The St. Louis Gatekeepers jammer, Debaucherous Prime, is back in the game now.
Sammy Dangerfield sets up a nice big hit by Filthy McNasty, who sends Debaucherous Prime out. Debaucherous Prime, look at his right foot there, reaching off on that outer boundary. He did not want to have both feet in bounds because it would have been a cut. Very smart awareness there.
That was a good catch.
Well, thank you. I'm trained to watch skaters' feet and their hair. We have Ladies' Night, number 2 for 1, at the jammer line against probably Magnum PIMP. We have an official timeout.
Rasputin is giving the signal for the official timeout, and there's already a powwow going on in the middle of the track.
We have the cheerleaders. Little Mary Switchblade leading the cheerleading crew along with their new Shock Rocker mascot.
Rocker.
Of the new mascot of the New York Shock Exchange. She's got her boombox.
It looks like she just came from Zuccotti Park.
The New York Shock Exchange unofficial theme song for quite some time was "Workin' for the Weekend" by Loverboy. I bet her jukebox is set on infinite repeat loop of "Workin' for the Weekend." You want a piece of my heart? You got to start from the start. You want to be in the show? I'll just leave it at that.
Incredible how you can just pull those lyrics out of thin air.
You know, I'm no Richard Simmons, insofar that it's not show tunes being pulled out of thin air. But I do admire his energy.
So, looking at the track, I see that we have two St. Louis gatekeepers on the track. They have 2 in the penalty box.
We've got a 11-point lead for the New York Stock Exchange. It's been a back-and-forth game. We've only had a couple of multiple scoring lap runs with jammers in the box. You're seeing the same kind of style of play that you see from the women. It's no accident. It's both New York and St. Louis have an atmosphere where the men and women are cooperating, learning to play this game together, learning the strategy of what works, what doesn't work, fine-tuning it for the personnel, but you're seeing a very familiar style of play by these men. St. Louis has an amazing, I just said my forbidden A word, amazing infrastructure.
I'm going to give you the
the
air horn.
I owe someone a nickel every time I say the word amazing. It's my least favorite adjective. So anyway, St. Louis does have quite a developed infrastructure insofar that they have 4 local men's home teams with a regular schedule, just like the Gotham girls, to be able to, I think they're one of the only teams in the world that have enough men's skaters going to make 4 competitive individual teams with a full season and their own developed fan base and so forth. More power to them.
Well, there are quite a few men's derby leagues out there. I'm sure that they travel a lot throughout the Midwest to places like Des Moines.
That's right, Des Moines, Iowa, the home of Your Mom's Men's Derby, which is the current #1 ranked team in the MRDA, followed by the Magic City Misfits of Jacksonville, Florida. Then we have our New York Stock Exchange. Then Puget Sound Outcast Derby, who the Stock Exchange defeated for the MRDA title last year in a terrific game in Long Island. Then we get our gatekeepers. Who else? Where are the other hotbeds of men's derby there?
Well, number 6, of course, is Portland, just simply called Portland Men's Roller Derby. Portland, Oregon, that is, not
right.
Portland, Maine.
Indeed.
Race City Rebels from Indianapolis, Indiana, another Midwestern team, is ranked number 7.
I'm going to interrupt you because it looks like the timeout has been interrupted. How dare they interrupt our almanac of men's derby. In this new jam, look at this. We've got the St. Louis skaters scampering to the front. There was a pack in the front, yet the jam got called for a begin. That looked like a referee error to me. You saw the Stock Exchange pivot, Abe Drinkin holding up his hand to say, "I'm the pack here. We're not ready to go." Jam was called anyway. Skaters have to be ready for those kinds of things. We don't have either jammer out yet.
Oh, and 2-for-1 ladies' night is right on the heels.
We had the first gatekeeper's jammer did get out, but he came out with a minor cut to his credit. No, passing someone out of bounds. That's Batwing.
Ladies' night calls off the jam before St. Louis has a chance to score any points.
Those little errors in your first pass, if you're the first guy out, basically cost you the opportunity of the whole jam because the other guy is going to get out and they're going to call it off for a 0-0 unless your team can really lock down on defense and start lapping up 5-0s on them.
You got to have a lot of confidence in your blockers for that to happen.
You should always have confidence in your blockers. If you can't trust your blockers, who can you trust?
The government?
That's true. That's absolutely right. We now have Jonathan R. And a big jump to the inside doesn't work for the gatekeeper's jammer, who is held back despite the absence of a pack. We might see some out-of-play penalties distributed to those black blockers, but it's number EP2, Shango Fett, stuck in the pack behind Ronnie Mako and Buster Cheaton, finally out. Jonathan R. stalking the pack, hiding behind Filthy McNasty.
Using his blocker, very smart.
Literally hiding behind him to see if the gatekeeper's pivot could lose track of him. And boom, he is through. He's past everyone's hips for a 4-0. Very cagey jamming. Very cagey jamming.
And he signaled to the ref, yes, I did pass his hips. I did get his point.
Yeah, I think if he only got 3 for that, he might have a case. Did he get 3 or 4? We have a score of 29-14. It's 4. She's just held up and acknowledged, yes, that was a 4-point lap. The pass through the pack ended with Jonathan R. behind a gatekeeper skater, but he had already passed him in that pass. We now have...
We have 3 Stock Exchange members, blockers. Oh. Whoa, were we bowling?
Shoots and Splatters is being sent to the box for a major low block. He slid right into the back of number 82. That's Percy Control. Oh, and we have another slip-sliding skater. You may see that more throughout this afternoon.
It's a pretty humid day here in Coney Island.
Yeah, we saw... Oh, there's a clockwise block by Marlon Brando. Yeah, he's sent to the box for that. That's a big one.
And here comes 2 of St. Louis's other blockers to the track. That's going to shore them up.
This is not what the Stock Exchange needed. They've only got 3 blockers and no jammer. Boom. diving right through that gap between Starsky and Abe Drinkin.
And they are carving down the 10-point lead that we started this jam with.
Yeah, it's now down to 5 if the scoreboard's being updated mid-jam, I believe it is. And, oh, we have a big out-of-play major by Ace of Skates. Referees deciding that he was too far away from the defined pack. You'll see the defined pack was in the back there with Abe Drinkin and the skaters in white.
I see a full, is it full or almost full penalty box from the Shock Exchange?
Yeah, we've got 2 blockers and 1 jammer. The jammer's standing now, but this is just a worst-case scenario for the Shock Exchange. We saw a hard luck low block, and then we saw 2 out-of-play majors. Those out-of-play majors can really be prevented with communication and awareness of where everyone is on the track.
St. Louis jammer came through, knocked Abe Drinkin to the ground, but the refs did not call that as a block in the back.
Shoots and Splatters is now coming back through to make his first pass through the pack. He's got to get through to be able to stop the bleeding. The number 24 only has a little bit of time to work with to hold him back, and he gives him a shot, but it doesn't hold him in. So this is for just a handful of points right there. Oh, referees with their back turned at the end of that. When you
Did we get any points on that? I see. We did. We got 1 point on that.
The Shock Exchange did get 1. The Gatekeeper's jammer may have been better off calling it a little bit early.
Shock Exchange jammer, really smart, continuing to drive through the pack even though the first whistle. If you pass hips of an opponent before the fourth whistle, you do get those points.
We have an official timeout here. We were alluding earlier to the moist conditions on the track. When the setup crew got here today, the track was a little bit wet, and they decided, you know, it's a little dusty, we're going to mop it. And it needed mopping, but drying all of that water after the mopping took hours, thanks to the humidity here. We are about 100 yards from the ocean.
And of course, every time a player falls to the ground, there will be a sweat-soaked smear on the track.
It is about 90 degrees in here, or we are about 15 feet in the air. It may be about 85 at sea level. It's about 95 up at our level, and very humid. One of the big differences you'll see between men's derby and women's derby, if I may cast some biological aspersions, that's the word I'm looking for, the men tend to sweat a lot more voluminously, and when in the practice space that's shared by New York men and women get used by both genders on a hot afternoon, you can tell who's been skating for the previous 2 hours.
Also, those sweat-soaked smear marks are bigger because the men are physically a little bit bigger. It's like when you make angels in the snow.
Right, they're derby sweat angels. That timeout is over. We're going to begin our new jam with St. Louis up by 14 points. We've got 4-on-3 in the pack with Ladies Night trying to score, and number 11, Debaucherous Prime. I got it right this time.
Yes, you did.
Dave Drinkin giving him all kinds of heck, and being sent out on a major is Buster Cheaton.
The Shock Exchange jammer is still caught in the pack.
Ladies Night caught behind some big players there. We have number 86D, number 314, and number OU81, all very, let's just say it, large men. Having to go up against those big bodies is one of the reasons my men's derby career only lasted about a game and a half.
Decided it was easier to call from the inside of the track as a referee, eh?
Yeah, we have Ace of Skates now heading into the penalty box.
Ladies Night did make it out 2 for 1. He is right on the heels of Debaucherous Prime, number 11.
Oh, a nice move around Abe Drinkin by Debaucherous Prime. Fake to his left, go right. He knew Abe Drinkin was worth 3 points. You see his jam ref holding up 3 there because there are 2 black uniformed blockers in the box.
So he gets Abe's.
He gets Abe, and he gets Ace of Skates and Buster Cheaton, all for that one little move. Very good awareness there.
I see Ronnie Mako with the star on his hat for the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, Ronnie Mako, who we have to thank for a lot of the technology that drives the stats you see in the Gotham Girls Roller Derby broadcast, and an official timeout.
Another official timeout. What?
It's a sweaty track. I don't see anyone running for towels. I see maybe some penalty catch-up information. And our head ref, Ref Sputin, who hails from Washington, D.C., indicates the timeout's over. A real quick one, just to make sure we had there must have been a missing F on the tally sheet for forearm. Jonathan R. has now jumped into this pack to help Ronnie Mako out. Jonathan puts a shoulder into the gatekeeper's jammer, but number 216 on the gatekeeper's Jukebox Hero finds Jonathan and clears him to the right. That's very good offensive blocking by Jukebox Hero. Ronnie Mako is now stuck, trying to push. He's got another big body in the front to get past. 5150. That's Inquadable Hulk, who has to let him go because he's a little far in front.
He is a tall drink of water.
Ooh, Jonathan takes a big.
Oh, New York Stock Exchange box is FULL.
Yeah, Jonathan took a shot against that jammer, number 68 Batwing, who just nimbly jumped to his left to escape harm. St. Louis with a 24-point lead.
2 blockers on the track for the New York Stock Exchange.
I haven't got a great view of why they've been going to the box other than an occasional out-of-play major. And, of course, that unfortunate slip by Shoots and Splatters. We'll try to keep a better eye on what is it that's causing problems. We have an illegal procedure on Abe Drinkin, who skates into a downed skater. Pre-jam contact like that is not allowed in the rules.
Which was an interesting call because it looked like that skater went out of his way to hit him. St. Louis Gatekeepers has the lead jam.
St. Louis does have lead. Ladies Night pushes his way through to escape the pack. Ace of Skates is out of the box, racing to join Abe Drinkin and Atticus Flinch on defense.
And St. Louis calls off the jam.
Yeah, Shango Fett gets at least 1 lap worth of points.
Now the score with 13 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first half is 57 St. Louis, 30 New York Stock Exchange. But I tell you why I'm not worried. 27 points is not a problem.
Well, I'm not worried because this is really excellent roller derby, and we are all winners for being able to see it. We are the impartial announcers. We're not rooting for anyone. The only thing we have to worry about is our electricity going out. And on that note, I'm going to just regret I said that.
Yeah,
Here
I'm
we
knocking
have
on wood.
Why? Buster Cheaton taking the Jammer Star for what might be the first time in his New York Stock Exchange A-team career. He has been playing on the New York Stock Exchange B-team, the Dow Jones Averages. Oh, and Buster looking for a call on a clockwise block, which he gets against the Gatekeeper's pivot. But the Stock Exchange scoring has ground to a halt over the last 5 jams, I believe.
I see Abraham Drinkin with the star jamming for the New York Stock Exchange for the first time in this game, I believe.
We have Jonathan R. waving his arms to make sure the referees understand I'm back here getting an intentional minor. Yeah, we're seeing the Stock Exchange with the foul trouble. We must have a lot of guys with 3 minors. We know that Jonathan R. does right now. He's electing to voluntarily take his 4th minor with an illegal procedure start there. You can see him being waved to the box.
We call it poodling.
We call it poodling.
In the biz.
We call it cougering. Abe Drinkin is shoving against number 82, Percy Control, and is out in lead. But Debaucherous Prime not far behind. So the Stock Exchange is going to be able to kill some time for their captain in the box. They've got control of the clock here. They're not going to score too many more points than the Gatekeepers.
Abe Drinkin trying to hustle up to the pack to score some points before Debaucherous Prime catches up with him.
He's already got 3. That guy he passed in the rear was worth 3. So that was a 3-0. Oh, he's complaining it's 3. I think he's got a very strong case there. You can see Abe Drinkin telling his manager, and the manager's now complaining, look, there were 2 in the box, and those managers were dead right, from my point of view.
Raggedy Animal putting her fingers up.
Yeah, and that jam ref going over to confer with the penalty box trackers that there were 2 in the box, she's just nodded, yes, you're right. So heads up awareness by Stock Exchange management to pick up an extra deserved point. Ladies Night fighting a wall of 2 in white. That's number 13, High Plains Drifter.
And the New York Stock Exchange gets lead jammer status while
Batwing fights with Jeffrey. He cuts. Nice work by Jeffrey to pull a minor cut on Batwing. Those minor cuts will literally be a death by 4 cuts. There's a badly needed 5 points for the Stock Exchange to get back on the board.
Buster Cheaton runs to the front of the pack.
Yeah, it's up to Buster right now and Jeffrey to keep Batwing in the pack to give Ladies Night as much time as he can to pick up 4 more points. Ladies Night is gonna dive for some points here and call it as fast as he can. And boom, well done. Well done, Ladies Night, for a 9-0. That really brings the Stock Exchange fans to their feet. They are back in this game.
An excellent assist from Jeffery. He got back there just enough to distract the other players.
We're seeing from both teams excellent awareness of when to call it, where are the points, where are the blockers. We have Shoots and Splatters giving it a second try here. His first did not go so well with the major low block slide into the rear of a gatekeeper's skate. Who's that jamming for the gatekeepers?
We've got ourselves
That's EP7, Django Fett.
Django Fett.
I recognize him because he's got a chin that's a little longer than the other players. I'm just calling it the way I see it from up here. There's some with, beards, and their chins look smaller. His looks bigger, that's all I'm saying. We've got him as your lead jammer, and Shoots and Splatters takes a big hit, takes another big hit, but he stays in bounds, and he's about to take a third. Oh, you 8-1. Neil Death Experience shows Shoots and Splatters why he's got that name. Oh, and he takes an enormous hit in turn from Ace of Skates. Meanwhile, Django Fett has 5 points. He has lapped Shoots and Splatters, who is fighting to get out and stop the bleeding. He does finally get around number 24, who is Nat
Ace
King
of Skates giving him the business.
Oh, this is a big jam for the gatekeepers. Just when they'd given up, I believe it was 14 unanswered points or thereabouts, they come back with 9 of their own. And they lead 67-42.
There is 8 minutes and 47 seconds left in the first half.
Right you are. We have the St. Louis manager, downtown Dallas. She's got shoes that are made for managing, I suppose, if we can get a close-up on those shoes at some point during today. They're spectacular. And we have, Jonathan R. picking for a spot. Filthy McNasty with a big hit on PIMP, and he's got help from Atticus Flinch. Great teamwork by Atticus and Filthy for about a quarter lap there, but finally Magnum PIMP is too much, and he is through for lead. Jonathan needs to get out of this pack. Oh, a nice hit by Percy Control. Buster Cheaton smothers him, and Buster Cheaton
314 from
smothers him
St.
again.
Louis.
That's really nice offensive aware blocking by Buster Cheaton to get Jonathan R. out. So this is probably going to wind up as a 4-0. Magnum PIMP delaying calling off this jam. It could be perhaps to tick off some more time for his teammate in the box, who is now standing.
The score is 71 St. Louis Gatekeepers, 42 New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, great job by the gatekeepers. They went down early on a big power jam, and then came back, took a nice little lead, then just steadily grew it. Stock Exchange roared back with a big run that the gatekeepers just had none of, didn't pay attention to it. Said, "I'm sorry, we're gonna come out and keep laying down 4-0s of our own."
Penalties are have really been a factor in the lead of these games.
They always are. Number 11, Debaucherous Prime, fights through a wall of Drinkin' and T-Stop Tornado. Oh, a big, big hit on Ladies' Night, who reels over in that far corner. That big hit is from the blocker that he's battling right now all over again. That is Neil Death Experience. He's having himself a terrific game. Debaucherous Prime, catches Starsky napping, goes around the inside line on him. T-Stop dives at him and comes up with air.
And Debaucherous Prime calls it off. We're at a score of 75 St. Louis, 42 New York.
We've got some St. Louis fans down below us here. It's good to see them making the trip. Debaucherous Prime clapping and pointing for the Missouri supporters. He's showing them what they came to see.
Giving him a little love from the track.
That was a Show Me State reference. I don't know.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. We'll fix that in post.
Yeah,
we'll make it funnier in post.
Yes. we'll add the laugh track. We've got Jonathan R., who I can recognize because he jumps around, finding a hole.
The man formerly known as Flying Squirrel is through.
Number 68, Batwing, battling. Oh, a huge hit on Atticus Flinch by number 314. He is being called out for a major high block. Atticus Flinch is hurt.
Atticus Flinch
That
is
was
down.
a huge block to the head by number 314. What is his name? Double XL. He's been thrown out for it. The jam is being stopped, as it should be.
Referee Veronica Ake, also a skater for Gotham.
We need the EMTs.
Hails the medics.
That was an enormous hit to the left side of the head of Atticus Flinch.
And players on both sides take a knee.
He really got his bell rung. I mean, the moment he got spun like that, my ref spidey sense went, someone's got to pay attention to that and go over and think about calling that. He was in the ref lane on the outside, but he needed medical assistance right away. He's waving his hand. He's got his thumbs up.
He's a trooper.
He got hit in the flinch.
In the flinch. He got flinched.
He got flinched.
And
he's holding his...
Now, if you stomp a jam because of you are injured as a player...
His left hand looks very uncomfortable. I thought it was his right face that would be... or his left face, which would be even less comfortable.
He's going to have to sit out for how many jams?
He needs to sit for the next 3 jams.
For the next 3 jams.
By rule. He's holding his side as if it's his ribs or shoulder that were hurt, and I wouldn't doubt that either. That was just an enormous crunching hit by Double XL.
You know what? That hit made my whole body ache, and I'm not even on the floor.
So he's being looked at by the EMTs. He's not allowed in for the next 3 jams, but from the looks of it, there's no real danger of that anyway. We've got Abe Drinkin on the jammer line. A huge scrum of everyone just piled up in front of Django Fett. Mullen Brando being sent off for probably a major multiplayer block. You saw him clutching his teammates. You can hold your teammate. A big hit to the face. A hit to the face, yes, that's caught. Django Fett hits Ace of Skates in the face.
This is a great opportunity for the New York Stock Exchange to recoup some of the points that they lost while their jammers are in the box earlier in the game.
It did not look like an intentional hit to the head. That would have been an expulsion, but it just looked like shoulder met chin in a little bit of the wrong way. And Abe Drinkin manages not only to get out, so he also got a major out of play called on number 86D, Reckonbill, who's now owing time in the box. Has to go all the way around, check in. We've got just the worst case scenario here for the gatekeepers. They've got their jammer and 2 blockers in the box and Reckonbill owing time in the box. The Stock Exchange really needs to get 20, 25 points out of this.
And Abe holding his hand up, another 5 points. Thank you very much.
His agenda is simple. Stay out of the box. Do not give this advantage back. Don't do anything too clever. Just push forward, push forward, push forward.
And he is piling through.
He's waiting for a clockwise. There's a clockwise right there. It's signal from the inside of 4th minor clockwise. Reckonbill now owes 2 minutes in the box.
2 minutes.
No, there's room in the box. He can sit, but he's going to be there for 2 minutes. You can see the infield NSOs signaling a big 2. That's not what the gatekeepers need. Again, that was a great job by Abe Drinkin to tempt Reckonbill into committing that clockwise minor as a 4th minor, just letting him push and letting him push.
And St. Louis gatekeeper jammer having a hard time getting through the formidable wall of Jeffery and Mullen Brando.
And Filthy McNasty. Filthy with a big hit on the outside, puts him down. That's an enormous jam for the Stock Exchange.
The score is now 70 for New York, 75 for St. Louis, and we have about 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in this game. That could be 1 or 2 more jams.
In this half. Everything going wrong for the gatekeepers in that jam. They've got players in the box who owe more than a minute. They have called a team timeout. I do not blame them. Everything fell apart there.
Abe Drinkin is very happy with that last jam, and he should be.
And that was, correct me if I'm wrong, the jam after Atticus Flinch took that big hit. Perhaps that, gave the Stock Exchange a little more focus, saying we are ready to play. We're not going to get shoved around like this. Atticus Flinch still being attended to on the sidelines. He looks, he's nodding. He's doing all right. He's not looking very enthusiastic about skating today.
It looks like they're giving him a little action in the sling.
Yeah. It looks like a left shoulder separation or a left collarbone. He's getting a small sling put on. I still want to send a get well card to his face.
And we've got an official timeout.
No, well, it's the end of the gatekeeper's timeout. And we have Jonathan R. looking to really put the hammer down and bring New York back. Only a 3-point gap. Things really turned around in that jam.
St. Louis has 2 blockers on the track.
They've got 2 blockers in the box. Reckonbill, I know for a fact, owes at least 80 or 90 seconds.
And here comes Jonathan R.
Jonathan's battling against Percy Control and number 81, OU81, Neil Beth Experience. The wall in the front Doesn't have much time to keep the Gatekeepers jammer from getting lead. Oh, what a great clutch bit of defense there from Sammy Dangerfield, Buster Cheaton, and Ronnie Mako. That Gatekeepers jammer was almost out, and they just held him up long enough for Jonathan R. to squirt through and gain lead. They're still holding him up. Great job by Sammy Dangerfield slowing down Magnum PIMP in play, although they're out of play now.
Oh, and he's got lead jammer status, but calls it off. After Jonathan R. scores 4 delicious points.
That's the lead for the New York Stock Exchange with 2.5 minutes left. They pull back. They've got a 1-point lead. Sammy Dangerfield pumping his fist, high-fiving his bench, the crowd getting into this game. Ladies' night back at the line.
We've still got 2 blockers for St. Louis. They've got some people that have some time left in the box.
We've got 2 on the track for the Stock Exchange as well. It really comes down to that's Debaucherous Prime going to jam for Gatekeepers. Comes down to who knows what they're doing on a 2-on-2. Who's aware of who's coming back in. See here, the Gatekeepers were happy to delay the start of this jam because they've got a blocker standing in the box who's ready to come out. They're going to have a 3-on-2 before too long. Here it is, the 3-on-2. They should be able to make a little better hay on that.
And they are trying to run some time off the clock to get their own blockers out of the box.
So, a nice big hit by Abe Drinkin, who stays up, pushes Debaucherous Prime out, and now it's Ace of Skates turn. Abe Drinkin again. Oh, look at that footwork by Debaucherous Prime again, straddling to avoid getting a cut. Nice aware work there. Meanwhile, Ladies' Night is through and scoring. Debaucherous Prime still battling against Ace of Skates and Abe Drinkin. Finally, he wins that battle. Oh, a huge hit by number 81, Neil Death Experience, into Ladies' Night. Makes him tumble over backwards. Ladies' Night is back up. Neil Death Experience really shoving some Shock Exchange around today. We have no points for the Gatekeepers in that jam.
Debaucherous Prime held up his finger to say, I got one. But Pachinko said, no, you didn't. We've got 45 seconds left in this half. The score is New York 80, St. Louis Gatekeepers 75.
We have a timeout on the floor. It is charged to, it looks like an official review request from the St. Louis Gatekeepers.
I think they're going to ask about that point. That's what I'm guessing.
You must have had a better view of that than I did, so I'll let you.
I did see hips. I don't know during what whistle it was.
We've got both captains. This is what happens in an official review. The rules dictate that once per period, a team may say, we really want you to go back and look at that again. And these usually come up toward the end of the first period. If you haven't used it yet, you might as well. You never know what you're gonna. You only get what you ask for. So if they're arguing about a point, you might as well take that official review now.
And given how close the last couple of bouts for St. Louis versus New York have been, every point can count.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this game end on a margin that you can count on one hand. They're pointing in the area of where a point may have been scored. But by the way these are supposed to work, these official reviews, is captains from both teams can come in and be present for an airing of a complaint, something very specific that a team wants corrected. The head referee hears the complaint, and then as he's doing now, goes and confers with the whole staff in stripes. Who had a good view of it? Anyone have a good view of it? Do they have a valid, they figure it out, they come back and they report. Takes some time, but it keeps the game under control and it keeps it, on the up and up. Everyone knows what's going on.
I'm so glad that you're able to clarify that, being a member of the referee crew, Hambone, because I always thought you guys went over and just talked about where you're going to go after the game.
Well, we will do that with our body language simultaneously with talking of important things. So we're multitasking here in the referee huddle. You can see also, if you're looking at the referees, Punk Yu, one of our NSOs, is fanning off Gretch Armstrong with his whiteboard. It's very hot here. It's very hot down there.
It is a perfect day for the beach. It's a perfect day for Coney Island.
I was smart enough to bring my sandals today. I did not do this the last time we played here, so I am going to join whoever jumps in the ocean at the end of this.
I think it's a new tradition then.
Yes. Referees taking longer than usual.
I see the Bronx Gridlock and the Brooklyn Bombshells lined up.
They are ready to warm up. This is a doubleheader. They're going to be the main act tonight. The winning team in that bout goes on to play your Manhattan Mayhem
Manhattan Mayhem.
in the GGRD Championship on October 6th.
That is also going to be a very good bout. Brooklyn and Bronx, two stellar teams from Gotham.
This turned out to be a, whether or not St. Louis gets an extra point on this review or whatever it is they're asking for, basically they've given themselves a long free timeout. They were reeling, and now they've got some time to regroup, and basically a free timeout with that official review.
It's a good time to cut the mental momentum that the Shock Exchange has built up over the last few jams.
So we're back after that long official timeout. We have Jonathan R. on the line. Jeffrey's raising his hand as if to ask a question. Yes, you may go to the restroom, Jeffrey, but you're going to be busy blocking for at least the next few seconds.
And the Shock Exchange drawing out the time. They want to.
Yeah, Shock Exchange wants to get these jammers out as late as possible because they are at a disadvantage in the penalty box. Jonathan R. with blocks into the back of number 82 on his way through the pack. He's still not through. We have a lead jammer for the gatekeepers.
And about 9 seconds left in this half.
That lead jammer is Batwing. We have Veronica Ake very urgently letting Neil Death Experience know that he has a major out of bounds block and needs to go to the box. He is on his way. Oh, that is. It looks like looks like 3 points. The period looks like 3 points for Batwing. It's refereeing for women's derby and men's derby can be a little bit different. You're supposed to judge a hit based on its impact, and when you've got larger people, the impact changes. Here we go with the second half. Jonathan R. at the line with Magnum PIMP.
Each team having a blocker in the box.
Oh, Jeffrey and Buster Cheaton and Abe Drinkin manhandling Magnum MIMP.
And Buster Cheating sending L7.
Oh, an L7 with a cut there around Buster Cheaton, missed by his jam ref. We have Jonathan R. out and lead jammer. The gatekeeper's doing a good job of not being easy points. Buster tries to create a point for Jonathan. He does. Jonathan's got 2, 3, and 4, and he's going to call it right now. Yes, indeed, for a 4-0, 84-77.
That was perfect timing on Buster Cheaton's part, waiting until his jammer got just behind him before picking off a member of the St. Louis Gatekeepers.
Yeah, the gatekeepers had a lineup of 3 blockers there who were all points, and the Shock Exchange was behind them, but Buster went out and created some points, created some holes for Jonathan R. Nice job again, Buster Cheaton. Next jam, we have Debaucherous Prime up against Ladies Night.
And all 4 Shock Exchange blockers are on.
Yeah, we got a full cast.
Are on the track.
Full cast. Ooh, Filthy McNasty spins and goes down. Debaucherous Prime trying to battle around Sammy Dangerfield. Abe Drinkin shoves Debaucherous Prime to the inside. Meanwhile, his jammer, Ladies Night, gets spun around. He's got to start over at the back of the pack, too. Debaucherous Prime.
To the front of the pack, and he has one last, and he makes it through.
Ronnie Mako has to let him go. He and Sammy Dangerfield were a wall there, but they had to let him go.
2-4-1 for the New York Shock Exchange, breaks through.
So Debaucherous Prime is probably eyeing up Ronnie Mako there as 1 point. Abe Drinkin is 2, and he calls it. And how many points is he going to be credited with? It looks like.
I see 2 fingers.
Should
you turn up my headphones a little bit?
Yeah.
Thanking you.
Now I can hear better. Resetting for the next jam. Jonathan R. back out on the track as the jammer. The scoreboard hasn't been updated with St. Louis's points in that jam. It still says 80. Or was that 3 for them?
I don't know.
We've got Jonathan R. back on the jammer line. Buster Cheaton with his face to the jammer of St. Louis, who goes down on the infield. We have a multiplayer block major being called. Buster Cheaton sent to the box, and we have a not lead cut by the St. Louis jammer.
If Jonathan R. gets out, and he does, he can call off the jam.
Yeah, he does for a 0-0, but the Shock Exchange is hobbled now by having a lot of blockers in the box.
And manager for the New York Shock Exchange having a question for one of the referees.
We have a point correction. We have a point correction there by the jam ref. No, sorry. That's not a jam ref. That's an outside pack ref. Making her own signal. we have in the next jam, Ladies Night. I think we're going to wind up seeing a 1-2 combo of Ladies Night, Jonathan R. for a lot of the second half. And Django Fett battling, knocks down Jeffery from behind. Looks like the referee decided that that was a block in the back. Her jammer is not lead.
And Ladies Night, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is lead jammer.
You'll see here, Ladies Night has control of the time, but the bench is saying don't call it until you have to, because they're trying to get their time ticking away for their blockers who are in the box. Very smart managing by Raggedy Animal. Oh, but he takes too long and gets burned.
And
That's a 3-point timing error, and you can see Ladies Night coming back to the bench saying, what? That's a strategic mistake there by the Shock Exchange. They wanted to do the right thing, but it didn't execute. And they're still stuck with a lot of people in the box. Ace of Skates holding it down by himself now with Abe Drinkin standing in the box. Ace of Skates is going to be the only Shock Exchange blocker for a maximum of 10 seconds as Ace gets ready to go. The gatekeepers use this opportunity to clear the minors for one of their jammers. It's a smart time to do it. Oh, Jonathan R. takes down his own teammate.
And I hear a whistle called. There's a lot of wet on the floor. Guys are sliding all over the place.
And Black 47, Abe Drinkin being sent off to the box by the jammer ref. We have Buster Cheaton back out of the box. He's got to, let's see what kind of offense he can generate for Jonathan. He keeps Double XL at bay for a bit, but not for long. Double XL, good job re-engaging to be trouble all over again. Jonathan having real trouble with this pack of the gatekeepers. This is we're going to see a penalty there.
Or are we?
No, we are not. The
Ace of Skates holding his hands up like, what?
The front pack ref made a gesture as if he was about to call something. We'll look at a replay. He couldn't be sure of anything enough to actually call it. I've been in that position. Oh, and we have a slip, slide, sweaty jammer there.
It is a very humid day here at Abe Stark Arena in Coney Island.
We have a timeout being called by the New York Stock Exchange. They have given up that 5-point halftime lead and now trail by 9.
Two members of the Gotham Girls Roller Derby out on the track.
If you see the Shock Exchange bench, you see Raggedy Animal, who's one of the calmest voices in New York City Roller Derby, encouraging them to stay under control, be calm, we can do this. This is just a hiccup. Let's get out of the box. Let's go, she says. She is one of the best motivational speakers in New York City Roller Derby. She does a lot of great coaching with the Rec League for Gotham Girls Roller Derby. If you've been to any of the league's training programs.
I've had the privilege of having her manage the Wall Street Traders while I was skating, and I 110% agree with you.
She's dashed out to the middle of the track trying to find someone to talk to. It's the head ref who is taking track repair matters into his own hands there. That's Ref Sputin, who hails from Washington, D.C., come up here to ref this key bout for men's derby. She's got a complaint, waiting for his attention.
And Jonathan R., captain for the New York Stock Exchange,
Looks like this is going to morph into an official review. Track repair continuing. Mistrial, who hails from the Philadelphia area. We've got a geographically disparate crew of referees here for this landmark men's bout. Looks like we are going to have a let's hear it with both captains official review originating from the Shock Exchange.
There is 24 minutes, 36 seconds left in the second half, left in the game. The score is New York Stock Exchange 84, St. Louis Gatekeepers 93. A very small margin in roller derby land.
Yeah, 9 points, and we've seen 14-point jams. We've seen 20-point jams in this game. You get to a certain level of teamwork and skill, and the game becomes about executing what you're trying to do, but also at a certain extent it becomes about not being that team to blink. As soon as you blink and you get buried by 15 points, you're dead. I mean, that's all it's going to take is for either of these teams to blink at the wrong time, and this game is going to slip out of their hands.
Blinking could translate into going to the box.
That they go hand in hand. Or in the case of blinking, they go eyeball and eyeball. That doesn't make any sense.
We'll fix it in post.
I wish I could fix my life in post. We should start counting the number of timeouts for sweat smear cleanups.
Yeah. Well, it's only gonna get better as the game goes on. They're gonna get sweatier.
Yeah, the sun is going down. The sunlight's starting to stream into this venue through the glass walls. It might relieve a few degrees of temperature, but we may see some sun in some skaters' eyes. And here come the cheerleaders. The cheerleaders were commenting to me at halftime what a kind of turnabout this was. One of the things the cheerleaders wanted to do was to be women cheering women's sports, and that was what attracted them to cheerleading. And now here they are. It's kind of come full circle that they're excited to be like, hey, let's cheer for boys. No one does that. Girls never cheer for boys. And then they had to think about it and kick themselves in the head and say, oh yeah, they do all the time. They're called the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. But it's a little bit of a full circle gender bender experience for them here.
And we are still reviewing. We're still mopping.
Demetrius Prime giving a big grin to his teammate, number 24.
And we have
Nat
ladies' night 2-4-1 for the New York Stock Exchange with the star on his helmet.
Oh, and head ref Sputin signaling to Mr. Bill, the jam timer.
Let's get this party started.
Let's get it back going. We've got ladies' night ready to jam against Demetrius Prime. We've got 3 blockers for each team out there. Abe Drinkin is in the box for the Stock Exchange. He's got more than 10 seconds. Number 68 is Batwing. He's got fewer than 10 seconds. And ladies' night is through. It's what the Stock Exchange needed. Buster Cheaton again doing great work with his face to the jammer. Holds up Demetrius Prime for about a third of a lap. Ladies' night is going to have to come through, see if he can pick up 2-3 points and call it. Let's see what kind of offense Buster and Jeffrey and Philippi McNasty can make for him. Jeffrey attacks Batwing. Doesn't get much more than 1 point for ladies' night, but hey, it's better than nothing. We've got 85.
We'll take it.
Yeah, 85 to 93. That was good awareness by everyone all around.
Just under 24 minutes left in this game.
Django Fett trying to avoid the Sarlacc pit out there. That is all the sweat on the track. That's a Star Wars analogy that really didn't make any sense. Not his name is Shango Fett, sorry. He's the grandfather of Boba Fett, as I understand it. And Jonathan R. Oh, and another timeout.
Another timeout for crying out loud.
Oh, I like timeouts. It gives us a chance to
riff.
Well, and breathe and sweat. This looks like this is going to be a short one. Maybe just another wipe job.
And it looks like the New York Shock is complete on the track for the first time in this half.
We have jamming for the gatekeepers, Percy Control, with 2 L's at the end of Control. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe the second L is for lead jammer, which he's aspiring to. Oh, sorry, he's blocking. He's not jamming. Maybe the L is for lead. I think not.
And the Shock wall is tight. Will they be able to hold him?
No. Shango Fett, nice job battling through between Sammy Dangerfield and Ronnie Mako. Jonathan R. Squeezes around number 81. That's Neil Death Experience. That's one of the most important parts of the game is as soon as you lose that lead jammer battle, don't blink. Keep working, because that's the difference between a 4-point and an 8-point or 9-point. Yeah, Jonathan R. got out, which meant that the white jammer only got 2, and Jonathan,
we got 2.
Jonathan picked up 2 of his own. He passed 1, and there was 1 in the box. Nice work, nice determined offense, Jonathan. You don't get lead, you're still in the game.
The score is 95 St. Louis to New York's 87.
Mistrial, one of the infield pack refs indicating that Ronnie Mako, number 7, has committed a minor penalty, and it was his 4th. So he needs to sit for a minute in the box, leaving the Stock Exchange with only 2 blockers on the track.
I see Buster Cheaton up on the jammer line, and he breaks through instantly.
Buster Cheaton with what I believe to be his first lead jammer prize in his A-Team New York Stock Exchange career. And the St. Louis jammer about a half a lap behind. Buster can, if he can pick up the rearmost blocker, that'll be worth 2 points. He's not there yet. And there it is. That's 2 and 3, and he calls it. Oh, a late hit by the white jammer. Boom, we've got the mate. Nope, it's not being called as a major. It's being called as a simple late hit. The jam ref thought about punishing Magnum PIMP with a major late hit for knocking down Jeffrey, who does not look happy.
No, he's having a little bit of trouble getting up. The medic and one of the Stock Exchange managers is coming over just to make sure he's all righty.
Yeah, his left knee does not look happy. He got rolled into well after the 4th whistle by Magnum PIMP, not on purpose, just that's the way the game rolls.
That corner seems to be particularly damp.
Magnum PIMP given a minor late hit. Jeff Faree has to go out and skate in the next jam apparently because he may be in the queue to go to the penalty box.
It must be awfully difficult to be head ref and be mopping the floor at the same time.
It wouldn't make sense if he's in the queue. It wouldn't make sense to see 3 shock exchange blockers out there because if he is in the queue at that point, there should only be 2 on the track. It may have been, you know, and strategically for Jeff Faree, knowing he had to be out there for a while, it may have been wise to just stay on the track, wait for the medical attention, and see if the referees would allow you to skip your obligation to go in the box and to get a teammate to go in for you. I mean, you don't want to game the medical system like that, but again, that's the reality of how it all works.
Now, that's a phrase I hadn't heard in roller derby, gaming the medical system.
Well, no one in roller derby games the system at all. It's.
Would you call that medical fraud? Roller derby medical fraud?
Well, it isn't happening, so I wouldn't call it anything at this point. It looks like Jeff Faree is going to skate in this jam with a left leg, left knee that is in pain. He's shaking his head as if to say, I don't have a choice here. Ladies' night pacing around. I think the referees here are deciding what to do with that late hit. The initial instinct from that jam ref was, that's a major, and he signaled as if he was going to call it that way, and then he kind of took it back.
21 minutes left in this game. The score is 90 New York Stock Exchange to St. Louis's 95, a very, very close margin.
Yeah, and Jeff Faree is one of the 2 blockers out there. He certainly owes time in the box, if I'm understanding the situation out there. So let's watch how that plays out. This is not what the Stock Exchange needs. Percy Control finds Jeff Faree and Abe Drinkin, who link arms and use those to, ladies' night squeeze. We've got it's judged a cut on the outside.
Debaucherous Prime.
That sequence there is not what the Stock Exchange needed. Jeff Faree is now off, heading to the box because Mullen Brando, his teammate, is standing and made room for him. Percy Control really just has Abe Drinkin there to pass, and Abe Drinkin is worth 5 points. That's an easy 5 right there.
A very, very tough 4 on the New York Stock Exchange. Their jammer is in the box now.
I didn't see why he went. Abe Drinkin with a little dive at Percy Control, who gets through for another 5.
We've got 3 blockers from the New York Stock Exchange separated on the track.
Ronnie Mako knows he's worth 3 points. He's been passed. Good work by Mullen Brando to knock Debaucherous Prime to the outside. Debaucherous has to come back and start over. This is a very tough wall of Mullen Brando and Abe Drinkin, but once again, it is Neil Death Experience who breaks it up. He is having a terrific game. And Abe Drinkin gets shoved to the outside. Well-timed offense by the gatekeepers. Everything going wrong for the Stock Exchange in the last minute.
I see 4th minor for a member of the St. Louis gatekeepers, sending him off to the box.
That's Inquadible Hulk. Another 5. This game's getting out of hand if the Stock Exchange can't answer in the next few jams. This is a big, big score for the gatekeepers. Ladies' night out of the box. He may not be scoring yet on this lap. No, it looks like he can't tell by the referee's body language, but let's just watch and see here. Does he get points now? No, he does not. That was his first lap. Abe Drinkin now being sent off to the box. Ronnie Mako with a key big hit. Forearm major, says Veronica Egg. It looks like a good call from here. That's, again, another problem for the Stock Exchange.
St. Louis fans like that last jam a lot.
Yeah, that's... they started that jam at under 100. They're now at 123.
Shock's got to come back in the next 19 minutes in order to win this. They are now at 90 points.
Yeah, Stock Exchange in big trouble. They have Jeff Faree and Abe Drinkin in the box, and Ronnie Mako is in the queue. They are going to be stuck with only 2 blockers for quite some time. Not what they needed at all. The cheerleaders have come out to jeer once again.
And an official timeout on this one?
It looks like an official timeout. Probably to make sure that that penalty box queue is what it needs to be.
The refs taking the time to make sure their T's are crossed and their I's are dotted.
With 19 minutes left in this game, it's a 33-point lead. The Stock Exchange need more than one big jam here. They need a run.
Easy to do in 19 minutes. They just have to Have to focus.
Plenty of time. They know they can do it. They did it in the first half. Let's see if they can do it again. Ace of Skates and Ronnie Mako are going to do the best they can, outnumbered on the track. And then Ace of Skates is going to be left all by himself in a minute once time runs out in the penalty box for Jeffery.
Jonathan R. caught behind a wall of St. Louis.
Oh, Ronnie Mako goes down and Jonathan R. hops right over him. Jonathan R. still stuck. Oh, and pushed to the inside with a nice block by the pivot, number 24. That's Nat King Kill. Batwing spins around Ace of Skates. Ronnie Mako has a shot. What can he do with it? Oh, nice offense by the gatekeepers to occupy Ronnie Mako.
And that brings their score to 127.
Yeah, and Ronnie Mako finally able to get into the box.
It shut off because the card's full.
Why would the card be full? We have another card in the camera box. In the camera box, there should be another. In that box, there should be a box of cards. That box right there. Yes.
But it's still recording on the stream, so.
Oh, okay. Ladies' night, 2 for 1.
Yes. That you're holding it. There should be a card in there.
We have a Shock Exchange jammer in the box. This is not good for them.
And Shango Fett comes through. Sammy Dangerfield gets shoved to the side by number 82, and now Sammy Dangerfield has to go to the box.
Buster Cheaton is
trying to work it with his Gotham All-Stars co-manager, Abe Drinkin. They've been separated, which is not what you want to see if you're just two people. Oh! Buster Cheaton arguing that Shango Fett committed a cut there. Oh, and Buster getting really aggressive with the forearms.
And his comrade in arms comes through to send out that jammer out of bounds.
I think Buster and Abe know that, like, we need to make a stand here. We cannot get just whapped willy-nilly. Otherwise, this game's going to be over. And Buster doing a good job to delay that scoring.
Just under 17 minutes left in this game.
Shango Fett looking for more points. We've got Ronnie Mako, who's worth 3. That's Ladies' Night sneaking out of the box right now. Shango Fett's got 3, 4, 5, if he can stay in bounds, and he does. The gatekeepers' blockers now focusing their attention on Ladies' Night to see if they can keep him from getting out of the pack. He does get out. Buster Cheaton again. Oh, jumping at Shango Fett.
And that is a score of 146 now for the St. Louis Gatekeepers to the New York Stock Exchange 90. They have not scored in several jams.
Yeah, this is turning into the Stock Exchange really needing to get it together. We also saw Sammy Dangerfield with a hit at the end of that jam that a gatekeeper might have taken exception to, a little after the whistle or a little in the back. Saw some Stock Exchange blockers there losing their cool a little bit, saying, you know, we've got to stop you at all costs right now. It looks like they've taken a timeout. They are now down by 56.
Not an impossible score to overcome, but getting tougher by the jam. They have got to stay out of the box, especially their jammers.
Magnum PIMP now at the line against Jonathan. Throughout this run, the gatekeepers have been very, very good at staying calm, just playing textbook roller derby, not letting these big hits throw them off. Got to give them a lot of credit for just coming out and executing. They are now down in the blocker count, 2-3. Maybe this is what the Shock Exchange need to do. They've got a tiny advantage here. This could be the beginning of bringing it back.
Jonathan R. up the line for the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh, Jonathan diving around to the outside of those two blockers. He's going to get lead right there. That's what they needed. Ace of Skates and T-Stop Tornado working on Magnum PIMP with help from Starsky. Ace pushes Magnum PIMP to the right, but not far enough. Jonathan's only got a little bit of time to work with here. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 points and calls it. Double XL out of the box for the gatekeepers. We're going to see, I believe, a 3-on-3, 4-on-3 now pack. Abe Drinkin with the star for the Shock Exchange against Debaucherous Prime. Little confusion on the Shock Exchange bench, who's in, who's out. They're all taking a knee. You see skaters, just like in the women's game, taking a knee because they don't want to be counted as part of a legal pack. When there's no legal pack at the beginning of a jam, the jammers get released right away. They perceived an advantage. They need to score some points. They want this thing to get going.
Abraham Drinkin with the star in his helmet for Gotham, and he gets through the pack. He has one.
Oh, a fantastic block.
Whoa.
Fantastic block by, we'll find out who that is when he comes back around. Number 24, Nat King Kill. And he's trying to do the same thing to clear some space for his jammer Debaucherous Prime. He's about to smack into Filthy McNasty and Jeffery, but whiffs on those two, and Debaucherous Prime is down. This is what the Shock Exchange needs. Debaucherous Prime's back up. But
Abraham Drinkin coming back around to score.
yeah, this is going to be, if he can get some points, this is going to be 4. He needs to call it right there. Oh, and he goes down and calls it. Oh, it's 3.
I heard a bevy of whistles on that.
We have a major multiplayer being called, I believe, on Nat King Kill.
Shock now has 97 to St. Louis's 146.
Shock Exchange got a big advantage here in numbers now. They need to take advantage of the way the Gatekeepers did in the first half of this half. We have a timeout being called by the Gatekeepers. Thias, can you sing a song for us while I find out something from our producer?
Yes. La 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 la. How's that?
We're back from our conversation with our producer. Today's wardrobe was brought to you by Mr. Guy. And I've never sweated so much at Mr. Guy. Mr. Guy, I didn't know he had a waterproof line. Gatekeepers meeting here, probably talking about let's not let this thing slip away. If we do everything right,
Focus.
if we do everything right, stay out of the box. You know, we can give up 4 points here. We can give up 3 points there. Don't be a hero. You know, let him cut at us. We just can't let him win the whole war.
We have 2 blockers on the track for the Gatekeepers.
That's right. We're back from the timeout. Those 2 blockers race forward. It still creates a no-pack situation at the beginning of the jam, leaving Buster Cheaton questionably eligible to block that jammer until a pack is reformed, but there's no call made there. That jammer is number 68, Batwing.
Jonathan R. going out of bounds, having to re-enter the back of the pack. That delayed him a little bit.
Oh, Ace of Skates takes a shot. Buster takes a shot. Jonathan with a jammer on jammer hit, and Jonathan is blown up by number 81. Again, Neil Death Experience. He is having a monster game. Jonathan finally out, uses his figure skating skills to stay on his feet. But Neil Death Experience now just destroys Buster Cheaton in the back of the pack. I'm so impressed with Neil Death Experience. I just can't stop saying it. And very smart move there by Batwing. Even though he didn't get a whole lot of points, he kept the Shock Exchange from getting any as well. Time is the friend of the Gatekeepers.
This is true. Both teams scored 0 on that last jam. We have just under 13 minutes. The score is 146 to New York's 97.
Yeah, the Gatekeepers will take 0-0 jams for as long as they keep rolling up. They've got 12 and a half minutes to hold on with about a 49-point lead. Well, exactly a 49-point lead. Oh, and we have a pyramid.
We have a tower of power.
Hopefully our cameras will catch that. If you don't see the pyramid, we do have Shane Goffett shoving his way past a diving Abe Drinkin and a diving Filthy McNasty. He's stuck behind Filthy again. Double XL.
Sent out of bounds. And he sneaks up through the inside line.
That was great work by Double XL to just be available to his jammer. Double XL down now, puts Abe Lincoln down. Abe Drinkin down.
Ladies Night 2 for 1 makes it through despite that giant 314s. Massive.
You see that there, Double XL turning around to give a two-handed assist to his jammer who denies it.
Ronnie Mako in the back of the pack allows St. Louis to score 1 point.
Again, St. Louis overjoyed to take 1-0s, 2-0s. They'll even take a 4-0. It's the 11 minutes left in this game that they're concerned about. We Buster Cheaton again on the jammer line. I think this is his fourth trip?
I believe this is his third or fourth. I think you're correct in that.
I'm correct.
Semi-assessment.
I spoke generally enough that I
And
can't
I
help but be
concur.
correct. Yes. Ace of Skates turning around to face the Gatekeeper's jammer. Oh, that's Magnum PIMP who gets bent over backwards by somebody. Oh, number 73
Ooh.
takes out Ace of Skates.
Wow, that was a major hit Buster Cheaton took to the head. He did not get a call in his favor on that.
Another big hit from that guy again. Near death experience. Oof.
He is pounding into Buster Cheaton, but Buster prevails, makes it through the pack.
Yeah, Neil lets him go there at the end. He didn't want to risk being out of play. And again, the name of the game here for the Gatekeepers is time management. If you think you might be out of play, if you're wearing a white uniform, just let it go. It's not worth it. Buster coming through for some points. Again, the Gatekeepers, it's all right. Oh, Buster with a cut, a major cut. He does not like the call.
Does not like that call.
He risks an insubordination second minute there for that glare at the jam ref. He looked like he straddled and did from this angle, only about 80 feet away. I thought it was a good call, but we'll see better in the video replay. If you're upright on your skates, your cut is complete. And we have a fourth minor being called on number 73. That is Sweet Tooth for the Gatekeepers. Way out of play in the front. We're going to see some big penalties in the front.
Somebody just got sent off on that one.
Yeah,
that was
Starsky.
number 3, Starsky. And that's the jam.
I think the Gatekeepers just pulled on the Shock Exchange a little bit of what helped the Shock Exchange in their last meeting a few months ago by skating slow, staying in the back, and letting the Shock Exchange rack up out-of-play majors for attacking their jammer.
We have we have about 9.5 minutes left in this game. Shock has scored only about 9 points.
Let's see how Jeff Faria is lined up there to try to seal off every. Oh, and he gets a illegal procedure early hit from the outside pack ref, Veronica Ake. Contact before the whistle. The cheerleaders marching through in their inimitable style. Is it I can never say that word. Inimitable?
Inimitable.
Inimitable.
Hard to say with a mouthful of crackers.
Do you have crackers?
I wish I did. I wish I had a Slurpee with ice.
Slurpee is not a registered trademark of anyone I know. It's not a consumer call
It
to
isn't
action.
my mouth.
This timeout looks to be a discussion by the referees between the two jam refs and the head ref. I think the crowd detects that the Shock Exchange may be fighting a losing battle here, but I think they're all getting ready for the Brooklyn Bombshells and the Bronx Gridlock, which is going to be a whale of a bout coming up here in this venue, maybe not in this broadcast. We have Magnum PIMP putting in eye drops on the infield. Or no, he's just drinking water. Unless his
We need a telescope from back here.
Unless his eyes are in his teeth, which would be very strange.
The score is 156 St. Louis Gatekeepers, New York Shock Exchange in 99. This is going to be a very rough 9 minutes. The Shock Exchange will not give up.
No, we're going to see them coming out and hitting as hard as they can. And
If you thought the first half was bloody, I think this last 9 minutes is going to send someone.
Oh, let's not hope that. It's going to send someone into throes of ecstasy from Derby Wonderful.
And our referees on the track mopping up some of this delicious salty sea air from the track. It has nowhere to go.
But into the grooves on the skates. All right. This official timeout is over. We've got some more wiping being done on the track. Skaters being called back onto the track.
We just need to put a chamois on the Zamboni.
Ooh.
And let it out on the track.
Chamois Zamboni sounds like an excellent derby name. We've got no Shock Exchange jammer. Buster Cheaton in the box for that cut. Debaucherous Prime slides in between Abe Drinkin and Ace of Skates, has lead jammer. It's up to Abe and Ace. Oh, and look, he approaches back first because you can't hit someone in the back. And, oh, it's fancy footwork by Debaucherous Prime to get around Ace of Skates.
Valiant effort by Ace of Skates to try to get him out of bounds. He just has some terrific footwork, that Debaucherous Prime.
Yeah, watch him just whoop, whoop, and pushing off the hip. People may ask, well, why are his teammates just standing there? And the answer is he doesn't need their help. And if your teammates, Buster just shoves his way through, says enough of this. If your teammate doesn't need that help, why risk picking up fouls? Why move the pack forward? It's only going to slow your scoring laps.
Ace of Skates and Abraham Drinkin trying to get to the top of the pack.
Oh, this is an interesting move here. We have Debaucherous Prime letting Buster cheat and score. Debaucherous Prime has control of the time. Could stop Buster Cheaton's point scoring. Choosing not to, and I think that's a smart move. Get more people out of the box, get the time ticking down on this clock, let Buster have let him do 4, 8, 12 points. It doesn't matter, just stay out of the box and let the time keep going.
That score is now 103 New York, 170 St. Louis.
Yeah, that's 4 for New York, or 6 for New York, 4 for New York. Those points were, basically given to New York by the gatekeepers, and it was a fair trade of points for time.
The clock is ticking down.
Jonathan R. at the line.
The gatekeepers with a question for the ref with some gesticulation.
Yeah, not an official timeout. If you can have a quick conversation with the ref to clarify something without stopping the progress of the game, by all means do it. This jam is actually started. We had a little confusion from the skaters about who's going to be up and who's going to be down, but we do have a clean start with no pack now, finally. Oh, and a big hit by Filthy McNasty to put the gatekeeper's jammer on the outside. Sammy Dangerfield now playing some defense against Batwing.
And St. Louis jammer battling his way to the top of the pack.
Abe has got Batwing lined up. Oh, but good job of Batwing to just duck and use some strength to get around. Sammy now attacking him. Sammy takes a spill. Jonathan R. coming through. And Jonathan R. muscles his way on the outside. Oh, he's not going to be lead because he passed that foremost blocker while both were out of bounds.
And the lead jammer goes to St. Louis, and he is going to bide his time.
Yeah, once again, it's a trade of time for points. And, he decides to...
He takes a look at his bench,
yeah,
gets advice from the manager.
That's a tough break for Jonathan R. on that one because to get lead jammer, you got to be the first one through, but you've got to pass everyone while you're in bounds. And if someone goes out of bounds while you go out of bounds, you don't want to waste too much time waiting for him to get back up. You want to get out of there, and now you're not lead.
It's disappointing. The good news is there are 4 blockers from the Shock Exchange.
And 4 for the
and
gatekeepers.
4 for, yes. We now have 2 full packs. That's tremendous.
And they're underway with Ladies Night jamming against Shango Fett. Oh, a big hit from Jeff Ree. Shango Fett being attacked by Ace of Skates. Ace of Skates almost gets really whacked by Nat King Kill, who thinks better of it. Ace of Skates shoved to the inside by number 73, Sweet Tooth. Good job of offense there by Sweet Tooth.
And Ace of Skates scores.
Or Ladies Night, sorry, that's Ladies
I'm
Night
sorry.
jamming. And Ladies Night's got some more points, and that's 5 more.
A little hop.
Yeah.
Hop over the apex.
Shango Fett still waiting to get out. Oh, and he's sent to the box. This is what the Shock Exchange need right now. Every time Ladies Night can get past these 2 guys, that's 5 points. He's got 4 of them. That's 5.
And the crowd loves it.
You can see Jeff Ree smiling, talking to the opposing blocker, saying, hey, I'm going to let you go and face him by yourself. Looks like he's doing fine. That's 5 more.
And Ladies Night looks tired, but he is not giving up. He is pushing as hard as he can.
A gatekeeper blocker came out of the box. Oh, Jeff Ree holds him back with a big forearm that gets called. And another 5 for Ladies Night. The gatekeepers, blockers directing each other. Here's where we need to stand. This is where we're going to maximize.
Focus, people, focus.
Yeah. Oh.
A tremendous.
Ladies Night staying up after a big shove from number 13, High Plains Drifter. Now it's 4-on-4, but with only 1 jammer on the track. Shock Exchange needs 5 or 10 more points right here. He's got. We thought about a block in the back there, but the referee decided against it. That was 5 more for Ladies Night.
And the St. Louis Jammer is back in action now. He's going to do a little
The
jammer on jammer defense.
The St. Louis Jammer is on his first lap. Ladies Night needs to get these extra 5 points. Doesn't do it, but that's a huge jam for the Shock Exchange to put this game within reach.
There's 4 minutes left. There is a 40-some point deficit.
Oh, less than 40.
Less
It's
than 40.
35. 35 points. That can be made up in 2 jams. Shock Exchange have got to make no mistakes. Gatekeepers want as much time off this clock as they can get. It's full strength now. No, it's not. It's 4-on-3, a Gatekeepers advantage in the pack.
The Shock Exchange would love it, I'm sure, if the Gatekeepers Jammer went to the box.
Oh, Filthy McNasty with some questionable contact there with Debaucherous Prime, and a big hit. Oh, a swing and a miss by Sammy Dangerfield on Debaucherous Prime. That was a huge opportunity for the Shock Exchange, and a big whiff thanks to the agility of, sorry, that's Magnum PIMP who's jamming, not Debaucherous Prime.
And Jonathan R. using, ooh, takes a little spill there on turn 3.
Magnum PIMP, woo, finds a sweat bubble on the big blue, and gets a great offensive assist on the shirt tails of Neil Death Experience.
And he is just running down this clock just under 3 minutes now.
Yeah, he's gonna not call it. Oh, there's a major low block right there. You saw Jonathan R. get tripped up. No, it's being called as a block in the back major.
Block in the back. I would love to see that.
I want to
on
see
instant
that.
replay.
We will have that available, I'm sure. That's going to be the end of it for the Shock Exchange.
There's 2 minutes, 30 seconds left.
That glimmer of hope is now fading into the Coney Island sunset, if I may wax poetically for a moment.
It's a lot of tough breaks in the second half for the New York Shock.
Yeah. Tough breaks, but also, you know, let's be honest, fantastic gameplay by the Gatekeepers. We see a lot of shoving. It all looks pretty legal. A lot of heavy contact. But the Gatekeepers keeping not only that gate, which doesn't make any sense, they're keeping the gate. They are also keeping their cool and keeping their strategy where it needs to be, just killing time.
And the last 2 minutes of this game.
Ace of Skates taking a big hit from the white pivot. Oh, a little nasty shoving between Ace of Skates and number 86D.
And that sends Ace off to the box.
Yeah, that was getting a little shovey between him and Wreckin' Bill. Roller derby can be shovey, but there are limits.
And it looks like the time for Shock's Jammer has not expired. Jonathan R. standing in the box.
We've got a 51-point lead with time enough for one last gasp from the Shock Exchange, who are destined now to go down to defeat, but you know, putting up a good fight against one of the top 5 teams in the nation. These guys are going to be ready to go at it at the MRDA Championships tournament, which is in St. Louis, October 20th and 21st, hosted by the St. Louis Gatekeepers. The jam is underway, and again, the Gatekeepers in no hurry to risk doing much. They want to stay out of the box, let the clock do its thing.
Oh, an illegal procedure sends Jonathan R. back to the box. He thought the jam had started.
The jam had started, but the jammers had not been released, and he came in and started engaging in a major way, which is a false start for a jammer. That's a good technical call by the referees. And Buster takes his shot at Debaucherous Prime. Debaucherous Prime sees it coming and shifts to his left, and this is going to be wrapped up when Debaucherous Prime says so.
Just a few seconds left in this game.
Oh, Debaucherous Prime is waving his hand saying, I'm not going to go anywhere near these guys. I want to stay out of the box. I don't want to give him a free shot. Let's let this play out. Well, he is, a big clockwise hit by Jeffrey.
Yeah, you can't hit
That's
that
a
direction.
major. The standard for a major on a clockwise block is if it changes the other skater's established position. That's clearly what happened there, and that is going to be the end of the game. Debaucherous Prime pointing at the St. Louis fans. Terrific game from the Gatekeepers. We'll see who their MVP is as voted by